podcast. My name is Jose. Thank you all for joining us today. Today should be a fun one. And why is because we're going to talk about one of the things I really like the most, and that is music. Woo, woo, woo. So, as you can see, we have the screen already up, and we are going to have some fun today creating the Bewildered podcast playlist. And with that, at the same time, we should have a nice conversation just about music and see where this goes. But before we start, I want to introduce my three buddies, mis amigos from El Colegio times, Edgar, Carlos, and Mr. Gian. So, you guys want to do a quick intro? It's one of Carlos's favorite things. Yeah? All right. So, let's start off with, I always start off with Carlos. Let's start off with Gian. Let's go, Gian.
Oh man, on the spot, man. I'm glad you chose me first. This is
There you go.
a good topic, Jose, I think, to discuss. Just because music just takes you to a place. It reminds me of where I was transiting between location, going to college, and so this is good, man. This is good.
I agree, sir. I agree. And let's go.
Hey,
now.
wait, this was just like right into the topic, dude. He was supposed to introduce himself. Who the fuck are you?
All right.
All right.
Hey, man,
Tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
This is my second episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Say one factor by yourself.
Don't admonish me. But so my name is Gian. I've been with you guys for the last almost 20 years, getting to know you each and every year more and more. And despite us knowing each other for so long, we continue to learn new things about one another. So.
Sweet. Thank you, sir. Man, it's been almost 20 years, huh? Dang, dude. That's crazy. All right, Mr. Edgar. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Edgar. Yeah, I've known these guys as long as Gian said, 20 years. Related to this topic, I've been playing the ukulele for like a year and a half, and me and Hoser shared some bonds when we were like DJing. Well, he did most of the work, but hopefully he talks about it. So yeah, I miss those days definitely. But yeah, also like all kinds of music.
All right. You know what? I wasn't going to bring that up. I totally forgot about it. But you know what? I should bring it up. All right. Thank you for reminding me about that. And last but not least, it is Carlos.
Hey everyone, my name is Carlos. I'm a PhD student in physics, and I really liked to bike. Lately, I've added like a little speaker to my setup when I'm biking, and it really makes my ride enjoyable. And yeah, I really miss the days when we were going to school together, and we were driving shuttles, like shuttle
Oh
buses
yeah.
that transport students, and we had a radio on those shuttles. And that was really a part of the gig that I enjoyed a lot.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so random question. So with your speaker, is it kind of like those, like some of the unhoused individuals that we have here in the state, like that I grew up watching, like yeah, and they have the whole huge speaker. Is that how you kind of look like?
Nah, it's a speaker like this big.
A little Bose.
Yeah.
Or J-Boom.
No, not Bose. I can't afford that. It's too expensive, man. It's a Sony. And it's good. It's got some good bass, good sound.
Hey, dude, is this the one that you let me borrow?
That one.
Oh shit. So quick story, dude. This fool like randomly texted me like, "Hey, what the fuck happened to my speaker? Because the shit was all scratched up." And yeah, dude, I took that shit on like a fucking bike ride, y no sé cuántas veces se me cayó esa madre, güey. It like fell like a good like 3 or 4 times. I was like, fuck, I hope this fool doesn't notice.
Oh my
Hey, but
God.
that's just beefy though. It didn't like break or anything.
How come you don't have like headphones or like Bluetooth headphones?
When I'm on the bike, I want to be aware of my surroundings. And if I put headphones on, it's gonna blur out
Mm-hmm.
everything in the environment.
Well, there's people who do that, huh?
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, I've seen people do that even driving out. That trips me out. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. All right. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank
Hey,
you.
what about you? You're the last one.
Me. Well, let me introduce myself, and at the same time, I will introduce this topic again. My name is Jose. I am friends with all these lovely individuals, and one of the things about me, I think it's nice to know about. I realized like when I was editing all the other episodes, really don't talk about myself. But one thing I would like to share is that I wasn't, unlike all these three individuals, I wasn't very athletic. I never did a lot of sports. I never did any of that. But one of the things I did do was music, and this is why this topic is it's very cool for me, very special for me almost. And actually, we had discussion today, right? That right before this episode, that this is gonna probably be just part one. This is not gonna be like the only episode about music, but because it's constantly changing, so it would be nice to kind of have this conversation later on during the year and see just how things have changed, right? But yeah, I am friends with all these folks. We all did engineering together.
Hey, Jose, you're being modest though. You were part of the school band, no?
I was part of
Saxophone
this.
player.
I was part. Well, yeah. So I guess with that, I think I can segue into the topic of today, which is music. When I was a little kid, I would never join like the sports scene. You know, I think every elementary school kid has their phase in little league or AYSO soccer or something like that. And particularly my dad was just the one that said, nah, you're gonna get hurt. And so then I told him, fine. Then can I do something else? He's like, well, if it's very different that I've never heard about, then yeah, maybe. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I was like, can I do music? And he's like, what are you gonna play? And so I had to give him an instrument that he had never heard about. And during the time I liked the Simpsons, and so Lisa Simpson played the saxophone, and I was like, I'll play the saxophone. He's like, saxophone? Huh. I never heard about it. All right, you can do it. And so I did it through school. I did it through elementary school, middle school, and high school. And I got good at it, especially during the high school time. And then when we went to college, I also played in the college bands, both in the sports. We didn't have a marching band, but we had those pep bands where we would go to basketball games. Which, by the way, now that because we went to UCSD, and now that they went to the Final Four and stuff, I don't know if the band went, but that's actually a really cool opportunity to kind of recruit more music players to that, to that scene. But yeah, during college I played a lot of music, and yeah, I always wanted to keep music going. Actually, during college, I hit a kind of like a wall, like kind of like a what is it? What would you call it? A
Plateau?
plateau. Yeah, where I couldn't do really good in school, and so after talking with my parents, I had to drop out. I had to stop all music playing, and that was really hard for me. It was during my fourth year. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I stopped playing saxophone, and I just had to put it away. But that itch always kept going, and um, so what I did was I ended up becoming a DJ because all my friends here were very nerdy. So I was like, hey guys, how come you guys don't party? You guys should party. They're like, oh no, I don't like to party. I want to study, because I want to learn calculus and I want to do structural. I'm like, yeah, man, but you should really party. That's the college experience, right? So I had to push them and say, look, guys, go out in the world and party. And
What the hell?
I was like, I'll put the music. I will put the music so you all can dance. And that's
Is
how.
that how you guys remember it? I kind of remember it's the opposite, dude. We had to like convince this fool to drink with us.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Because I didn't drink, so I had to do something during these parties. so, anyways, long story short, music has always been a part of just my life, and I think over the years it's changed. And so today, I kind of wanted to, I think we all have a lot of different music tastes. So I kind of wanted to start building a playlist where everyone has an input of different of their favorite songs, and maybe talk a little bit about why that song, why you guys like it. Even if there's a song that we like and you don't like, say why. And then after and then after, as we're putting these songs, I would really like to kind of have a build that conversation of how does it impact the herd, or can it help the herd? Does it help us stay in the herd or out of the herd, or keep us out
Hmm.
of the herd? You know what I mean? So, so as you can see here on the screen, I created a Bewildered Herd playlist. It's gonna be on Spotify after this episode. For those who are watching us on YouTube, we will also have the YouTube equivalent of this, so don't you worry. So, gentlemen, are you guys ready to help me build this playlist?
Yes.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
All right. Let's start with who do we? Okay. So I'm gonna start. So Carlos Edgar Gian. So that's how I'm gonna go. Alphabetical order. Carlos Edgar Gian, and and you have between 1 to 3 songs that you can pick, but depending on 3 categories, I'm gonna give you. So I'm gonna start with the first one. All right. Give me 1 to 3 songs that are like your go-to songs during your college slash high school high school years, or even further. So like a song that you're like, oh man, this song was really something that I love the song because it reminds me when I was young.
College through high school.
Yeah, I would just say college, but if typically when we go to college, we bring a lot of what we learned when we were younger, right? So
So one that comes up to mind for me is a collaboration between Control Machete and Eli Guerra, and it's called Perros Amores. And that song is featured in the soundtrack of my favorite movie, which is Amores Perros, and it was made in the early 2000s. I think the movie is special to me because my dad told me about it on one of our commutes crossing the border. So for context, I lived in Tijuana and I went to school in Chula Vista, and I'd get up really early, like around 5. This is before September 11th, and we would commute and cross the border, and it's really early, and we would have these conversations in his truck. And so he basically described the setup for the movie Amores Perros, and then one day I saw it in my little television in my room in Tijuana, and just the movie really captured me. And so this song in particular, I really like it because it's a really stark contrast between different artistic expressions when it comes to the song. There's the vocalist of Control Machete, which I don't know the dude's name, but he raps and it's really like in your face, coarse, like low, very masculine voice. And then Eli Guerra's part in that song is almost the opposite. It's like angelic, feminine, ephemeral, and I like how those two kind of come together. That's one song. And then
yeah,
another song,
that guy's name is Fermin Cuatro.
Fermin. Yeah. Another song from high school or college. But man, I guess I need to go with a song from Manu Chao for sure. I mean, I played a lot of Manu Chao in college. One album in particular that I really like is Clandestino. And Clandestino to me is like, I could pick almost any song from that album, and I like it. But I'm gonna have to go with Welcome to Tijuana, which is where I have, my people, my roots. I think that song is basically making a commentary of what Tijuana historically has been, which is this backyard where Americans go wild and party. I guess it got that kind of like that fame during Prohibition. So up to this day, I think it still is part of the city. And then the third one, I think I'd have to go with something from Radiohead. It'd probably be Hail to the Thief, which is the album. And the song that I would go to would be, I think 2 plus 2 equals 5, maybe? Yeah. That's the song. And this song to me is what I understand is this band's response to what a lot of people perceived was the kind of, you know, I'd put it in quotes now and be really careful about it, but a stolen election. I think it was an election between Gore and Bush. It was decided by Florida of all places. Decided it was gonna go to Bush, and I think it's very related to the theme of the herd. This song in particular. A part of the chorus that the guy repeats over and over again desperately is that you haven't been paying attention. You haven't been paying attention. And so yeah, those are my three songs for now, I guess.
Let me tell everyone, like, I remember these three songs, like, I hear it and I turn around, and I just think Carlos. The first one, the Perros Amores, like that song, because we were roommates, and I remember that song. He had this habit when we were in college, the freshman year, of repeating the same 6 songs or 7 songs over and over and over, and I was like, my friend, you're cool enough, but my friend, like, there's a next button after that. But you know, it's so funny. Like, then after once he stopped playing it, I was like, hey, where's the song? Like, you know. So yeah, I remember those 3 songs, and I remember I think even Manu Chao. Like, if I know a lot of his songs, is because Carlos, you know, just played them a lot. But they're good songs. I don't like those songs. Good choices, sir. Good choices. Any feedback on these songs, Edgar or Gene?
No, I just think it's funny. We used to have this like ongoing debate and dispute between the roommates. Yeah, I was roommates with these guys too, about like who introduced who to what band. But I really like the bands that Carlos mentioned, and I could have sworn I was the one that introduced Carlos to Manu Chao, but yeah, he's gonna argue that he's known them for like longer than that. I definitely introduced him to Killers though.
I introduced him
Yeah.
to Bob Marley,
Oh,
and then he
okay.
Really, really?
and then he came to No Woman No Cry, and he's like, oh no, wait, I don't remember. I introduced you to something. That's what I. But anyway,
Yeah,
all right.
I like Manu Chao. I like all the bands you mentioned. Radiohead, they're all
Yeah.
good. I never heard the other one though, so I gotta hear it.
You know, the random side note, the Control Machete one. So the singer Fermin Cuatro, he became a pastor, but yeah, and he's it's interesting. He's pretty cool even when he does that. But anyways, but he still sings that song because he says that song is very impactful, not only as a societal thing, but even in the spiritual side. So because they always told him, how come you still singing? Because it's, you know, he's like, no, because, you know. So good choice, good choice. All right, Mr. Edgar, give me 1 to 3 songs. No pressure if you can't get 3, but
Uh, nah, dude, I could name like 10 songs, dude. But yeah, it's hard to bring it down to three. Um, and I think like Gene said in the beginning that music is more like a memory and it brings you to a place. Uh, when it relates to the Bewildered herd, and they use it. You can use it for like therapy a lot too. So the first one I'll pick is more about like memories and experiences that I've had. And I don't know if I was talking to you guys or I was on a date or something, but we were talking about concerts, like the best concerts that we've ever been to. And I mentioned that it was this concert that I went when I was like 12, 13 years old with my best friend growing up, George. We went to see System of a Down in Ozfest. Um, and recently, like last week, I talked to George and he randomly brought it up. He's like, "Hey, dude, do you remember that concert we went to?" And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck? I was just talking about it." And he's like, "Has anything ever topped that?" And I was like, "Nah, dude, that has been the most like best concert that I've ever been to." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, me too." So it was really interesting that for him it had like a big impact too. But but yeah, it was System of a Down. I had never gone to a concert. They were freaking awesome. The crowd was like out of control, dude. It was like basically like in a hill or a park or something like that where there's no like fences or anything. So it was like just jam packed with people. There was raging like fires that people were building out of trash and just mosh pitting around them. So we were just like mosh pitting, dude. And to this day, I don't think I have ever felt more alive than at that moment. The only one that comes close is Carlos might remember when Mexico beat France in TJ, and we were just like fucking going crazy, dude. Yeah, that's probably the second most like time that I have felt more alive. But this one is by far the first. But it was nuts, man. It was like so much fun, and um I'll never forget it. And this was like all before cell phones, and like people were just in the moment, having a great time. And I mean, like it's crazy what music can do. And the mosh pitting too was funny because you know how their songs are like pretty hard and political and stuff, but like we would like bang each other pretty hard, and like people would get knocked down into the fire, and then like if somebody would knock somebody down, they would just pick them back up, and it was like a friendly atmosphere, even though we were like kind of raging and mosh pitting and stuff, but it was all like, I don't know, it felt like we were all like a community almost, like and their songs are political too, they talk about anti-government and anti-war, so it felt like this little community. And I think sometimes music can do that. It can build like community, and you can put a message in your music, and it could create this like lasting experience that I would never forget. And after that, I started listening to System of a Down throughout. So I would say that my favorite song from them, though, that I always started playing was what's it called? Chop
Chop
Suey.
Suey?
Hell yeah.
Which one is
Oh,
that?
that.
Is that the one where he's like, "Wake up"?
Yeah.
You guys should know it, man. I was playing
Yes.
it nonstop at remember, to wake you guys up in what was it, in Cancun? Yeah, I was playing it
Yes.
like I was in
Absolutely.
charge of waking everybody up to make sure we would get to the tours on time, and that was the song I would pick because it starts with "Wake up, I should put a little bit of makeup."
That's the one.
Sweet.
All right, and then my second song, I'm gonna go with Muse, Hysteria. They're probably the best band I've seen live, like in terms of music quality and performance. But yeah, they're this like English band, and the reason I like it so much is like I can't tell you how many times I listen to Muse and that song in particular, and associate it with getting ready for some kind of like an event, like a tournament or a soccer match or a test. Like, dude, every time before a test or like before something important where I have to prepare myself mentally, that's the song I would play. It's like my go-to song. And I would
Is
just
that,
play it on repeat.
is that the one that goes?
Yeah, it's the one with
Oh yeah.
the crazy bass. So yeah, it's just like I just remember it. It was a big part of my life because, man, all these like tests were really hard. These guys know, like we had to study really hard, and the UCSD was not easy. But for some reason, whenever I would hear that song, or like even playing for the soccer team, like it's not easy, dude. It's like a difficult match. But yeah, like just listening to that song, the song, I would just like zone in, and everything would be all right. Like I'd feel confident, like fuck yeah, I'm about to like ace this test or do really good in this competition. So and then I saw it with like my sister. I've seen them so many times in live concerts with my brothers, my sisters. So yeah, they're a big part of my life. And then the third one, most recent one, I would say is probably my favorite song that I play on repeat a lot now is Los Ángeles Azules, Nunca es suficiente para ti. And that one is just
Wait, this is
it's
songs that we listened when we were in college and back.
oh shit, I can't pick it right now.
I mean, but let's add it. I mean, because that's actually gonna be one of the other.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's fine.
I'm good with the two then.
No,
And then
no,
I'll
no.
add this one on
But
the
no,
future
but
one.
tell us about this one. You already. It's a good one. So
Oh, why I like it?
yeah, yeah.
It's just like it puts me in a trance, dude. Like I can work and
Bro,
study while I'm like listening to it. like so it's kind of like a mellow cumbia. It has like Mexican roots, you know, I'm Mexican. And if anybody ever asks me like a song that I recommend, it's always this one. Yeah.
That's sick.
So in the age of like electronic music and like the stuff that, you know, younger kids listen to, like these guys are still playing regular instruments. And if you look at their, they're still relevant. Like if you look at their YouTube channel, this song alone has like over 1 billion views. So it's one of the most played songs in YouTube. So I just like that they're older, like they're older folks and they're still
Hmm.
relevant. Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for those nominations.
So I have several songs. I will spare you the white boy music, Carlos, because I know you love to talk
I
about them
love
ad
it.
nauseum.
I love it.
Um, one of the artists that I'll nominate right now is Rage Against the Machine, Radham. They put you in a trance, man. They just want you to start like attacking the government and just straight right into your face.
Relax,
The song
relax.
that I want
Too aggressive.
is yeah, I know. That's hype. Yeah, hype, man. When you start listening
Hmm.
to Rage Against the Machine, and specifically the Bulls on Parade,
Ah,
that one for sure just puts you in a state of mind to just go against the system, fight the power, you know. And that kind of goes with the Bewildered Herd, as we want to be a mover and shaker. We want to change the system and change the climate a little bit. And how to do that? We got to fight, rage against the machine.
mhm.
So another artist that really takes me back in high school and college is Linkin Park. I mean, yeah, I picked
Yeah.
up yeah, man, Hybrid Theory, great, great album. That's the
Best
album
album.
that, yeah, best album. It's the album that really introduced me to the rock scene. And in particular, within that one is Numb. I really like the song Numb.
Which one's that one? Is that the ding 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 bing bing? That one?
No, that's in the
No,
end.
that's a different one. That's a different
Oh
one.
yeah, it is in the end. Which one's them?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
I become so
So
numb.
yeah, I can. Yeah, there you go.
Thank
Oh,
you,
so
Edgar. Chester Edgar.
Chester Edgar,
Rest in peace, Mr. Chester.
R.I.P.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
the new vocalist for Linkin Park is she's fantastic.
Yeah, she's really good, huh?
Really good,
That's what I
really
heard,
good.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I play this song constantly, even to this day, just to focus, and it really puts me in a state of mind because that's all right. As a teenager, you have all this angst, you don't know what to do with it, and just listening to this album and this song too, just makes you want to change who you are and really like, yeah, just move forward. And the third one, which I'm gonna change it up since now we have two rock songs. Don Omar, Salió el Sol. That one really introduced me to.
What the heck? I gotta hear the story behind this one.
Well, I mean, this is the one that really introduced me to like a lot of Spanish music. I mean, this was the one that started coming on the radio, and as I was like on the bus or or one of the songs I downloaded on my iPad or iPod, you scroll on the wheel and you can hear it. This is one of the songs that I played on repeat constantly, and then from here, kind of blossom. This song started to blossom into additional reggaeton songs, Spanish songs, and introducing me to Mana, Juanes, and like Tego Calderon and all the other reggaeton songs. And so it really introduced me to a new subset of music because I was isolated to just rock. Rock is all I listened to. The Strokes being one of them, which I know Carlos loves
Hey, hey,
that
hey.
band.
Don't let anyone tell you the Strokes are not that good.
Dude,
They're
Yeah,
legit.
they got good songs.
They had
they got
good, cool shirts. I always thought it was cool when kids wore the Stroke shirt. I was like, oh, that guy's cool.
yes, yes. So they were a great song. Great.
The Don Omar stuff, I just pictured like Hoser DJing, we're at a Baroness party, and then Gene just like fucking dancing, dude.
Yeah, I probably
Yeah,
should.
but he's right, man. That was the times like when we were partying, like those were all Daddy Yankee, Don Omar, like those were the times.
Yeah, man, they were all popular at the time. Yeah. They were releasing banger after banger after banger just as songs to dance to. So it was really cool.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so my three, one for Carlos, is gonna be the Killers. Somebody told me.
Yes.
I like that
Yes.
song. Two reasons. Number one, I got introduced to the Killers right when I got into college. I don't think Carlos remembers, but the first study session we had with some people that weren't us, it was with some friends that we had up in Warren. These girls, they used to live, I think, in our house. No, they were from Oasis, from Summerbridge, and all that. And one of them was playing Somebody Told Me. And I was like, whoa, what is this? It has like all these synthes. And I was like, whoa. And so every time I hear that song, I remember like our first study session, like, like being a freshman in college and something new. So that's why I really like it. That's number one. Number two, man, it's hard. I like this one. I think this is a classic. Still Dre. This one just that one kind of. So I'm not. I don't discriminate. I guess from with rap and hip hop, whatever. But this album is one of my favorite albums. The Chronic 2001. It's one of my favorite albums. I remember in the year 2000, like that song was so popular. I would cross the border to go visit my aunt, and like every car had it. Like, dun, 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 and I was like, whoa. And then when I got to college, and then Carl was like, "Have you heard the song?" I was like, "Yeah." I think that was like the only hip hop song Carlos liked. So, and then, man, there's so many. Mm, okay, I know. Um, I like this one. Luz de Madera. I like this one by Miguel y Miguel. This one, it's a very Mexican dad song, like you have to drink and and it talks about a man who just wants a simple life. But I don't really like it because of the lyrics. It's just the song, the raspiness of the voice of the guy singing it, kind of takes you back to to me it reminds me like where my grandparents kind of grew up, and I thought that's pretty cool. Oh, all right, like it's very raw in that sense. There was this other song called ¿cómo se llama? Sonar en sus ojos. Sí,
Uno de sus ojos negros.
Sonar en sus ojos negros. Carlos would always sing it, and I was like, and that one I think is funny because it talked about a guy meeting a woman in a bus. He was gonna go he was just gonna go somewhere, and the lady she just skipped. She didn't even go visit her parents. She's like, "I'll stay with you," and I was like, "Wow, what a love story," you know. So I want to try out another one, but we'll leave that for the end. But hey, this is a good list. I like this. I like this list. 12.
I like it
12
too.
All right, so this is the last round. So give me two songs, top maximum two, minimum one, that are really big right now for you. That right now they're like, hey, I like that song, or in the most fairly recent time, not like this year, but somewhat.
I'll go first.
Okay, Edgar.
So yeah, long story short, we recently went to Japan with my family. I took my parents, and I took my son, just because they're getting older, and I think in past episodes we've talked about like how important it is to spend time with your loved ones, and that's what makes you happy. Anyway, so during the time I was making downloaded this app where you like make videos, so that I can like take videos, and then it makes a compilation, and then I would send it to like my parents so they could have the memory, and then but you can add music to it, so it goes to the beat of the music. And one of the songs I put was Californication by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I didn't really think much of it. I just kind of liked the song, and it went really good with the video. But my kid, dude, like he really liked it for some reason. I don't know why. And I kid you not, that like every day from that time we went to Japan, which was like in November to now, like I have to play that song for him. Uh, which is really cool because now he's like all of a sudden into the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so
That
now that song
okay.
has like a lot of significance to me. Is like when I think of it, I think of Isaac and like just hanging out with him, and like we're just freaking like singing it. It's so cool. So even though it's an old ass song, like it reinvents itself and it becomes something
Yeah.
else, and now it's like relevant to me and to my kid.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's a
Cool. Cool.
it, it's funny you say that, Edgar, because it is the same with my kids too. Right now, they're like playing the Pokemon theme song, the old school.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
and like it brings me back. It takes me to that
yeah.
time when I would wake up in the morning to just listen to that song and would watch the episode.
Yeah.
Everything that they listen to now, just it's all through a
So it's
different lens.
not just me, right? Like I think maybe in this case it's like social media is a good thing that these things don't die. Like we've reached the age where you can go back and like things become relevant again because of I think it's because of social media. But yeah, like he's into Pokemon right now too, and
Yeah.
like that song also brings me back. It's like what the hell?
But I
Like I
think
didn't think he would like this, but he likes the music I like and he likes
Yeah,
the shows that I like. So it's kind of interesting.
but I think it's also you, like both of you, like making
Oh,
sure
that
that
we
that's still alive. Like like
yeah, but they talk like it's not just me and him though. Like they talk about it at school too, like
oh,
everybody's
okay.
into Pokemon right now, so I don't know how that came to be. But
Hmm.
yeah, a lot of old songs are like still relevant now.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Good art, good art doesn't age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah. I was thinking about what to say during this driving and Mozart, dude, like classical music. Like I was thinking which artist today would be still relevant hundreds of years from now. Like the way Mozart and the classical music, Beethoven and all that, like damn, those guys must have been like you said, Carlos, like, masterful music doesn't age, so that's cool.
Mm. No, and that's true. That's very true. Anyone else or any other song?
yeah. I'll throw out another song. So right now, what's hitting the radio is probably one of the top 100, and it's the Apata by Bruno Mars.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Similar to Edgar's story, right? My kids love singing that song. My wife too. Shout out.
And it's funny. It's my wife is into that song too, and my little niece, she was the one who introduced me to that song. And I was like, "Where did you get that? It's a good song, and
Yeah, I was
it's
behind too
catchy."
because there were a lot of other people singing that song, and I've never heard it. And then my kids
Hmm.
heard it one time. They're like, "Oh, I love this song!" And so even in the car, they ask for it, they request it, and they sing it. And it's funny just to see them like memorize the song lyrics and they try
Hmm.
to sing along. Really funny.
Sweet.
Is
Right.
the singer Korean or
Uh huh.
where's she from? She from
Yeah.
Korea?
Yeah. I think she's Korean. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. A lot of music from and shows too from Korea is like hitting the US market for some reason, but I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, fun fact, I just like some time ago I saw a documentary on how the Korean government was making a concerted effort to export K-pop
No, really?
Really?
as a
Also,
way to show their geopolitical influence.
It's
so
working.
like,
It works. It works,
so
man. Music, yeah, dude, like music is a way to influence, I think.
Yeah.
see.
So related to that anti-establishment comment, I have a song in my mind recently a lot, and it's The Guillotine by The Coup.
Never heard it.
Yeah, no, this song for me, like it would be one of my ring walk songs, and it's basically like the chorus is a bunch of children saying that they have the guillotine and that you better run. And so it just repeats that. And if you look at the lyrics to the song, which I don't have them right now, like
Wait.
a lyric I remember very clearly is this female black voice saying that if you're tired of working day in, day out, we've got a common enemy, that we are in a war before we fought one. Yeah, there it is. And to me, it resonates very deeply with A lot of the
Which part?
themes the one I'm mentioning now is more towards the end. Let's keep it banging like a shotgun. We in a war before we fought one. Now, if you're tired of working from day to day, a common enemy, we got one. And so that to me is addressing the class war, right? Of how it's kind of inconceivable for us to live in what Edgar mentioned, some episodes ago would be a utopia in which we would do with our time as we please, spend it with our loved ones, pursue our interests without these pressures that we have on our lives, which propel us to go and bargain our time on the market, right? Because we're literally selling our time for a job. And if we don't do that, then what happens? If you're not a trust fund baby, you could go sleep on the street. Good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, this song to me is
How do you think? Here, actually, let me ask you a question. Now that we're talking about a song like this, do you think these songs have kind of gone away over the recent years, or do you think they're picking up again some steam to kind of, uh, or like
What do you mean? Was there like a song that has a message versus like just like a
yeah,
pop song?
exactly. Like for example, GN pick Rage Against the Machine, right? I think when Rage
Yeah,
came out, it was very like whoa, like it was
yeah. I
something
think
not seen. But do you think
yeah.
that's still very
No,
alive right now in today's music world, or do you think it's kind of
no.
dying
I
out?
think it's more like pop, like electronic. Yeah, I don't like the lyrics don't mean much, I think.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Carlos?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if we probably look at the mainstream music industry, then I definitely agree with Edgar. But if you're trying to source your music from different places, from
Yeah.
places that aren't so, you know, propelled and just thrown out there, then I think today is as yesterday and as in tomorrow, you could find what you're looking for.
Yeah. So only will
Yeah,
die.
if you look for it, but I think sometime like in the 60s, 70s, 80s, it was cool. It was mainstream to be like rebellious. Uh,
Yeah.
Maybe
Like
all the way up until like 90s, 2000s. Like even then, the mainstream music was like Rage and System and all those like it was mainstream.
Right.
actually
But
that.
huh?
It's
Yeah.
interesting that you say that because now I feel that the political right in the United States has kind of appropriated itself over that cool, rebellious attitude,
Yeah,
anti-establishment thing. And I find
yeah,
that disconcerting. And I think something that happened for them to like get that idea was kind of the turning revolution into a commodity. And sadly, I say this, groups like Rage Against the Machine, Muse, for sure, I think contributed to that. I think at the end of the day, these bands who are really impactful, who have a really loud voice, and who are known across the world, they're not on our side. Even Rage, man, like I'm kind
yeah,
of
What?
confused by what I'm saying because we
But
saw
why?
them. We went to a concert together. Remember Edgar?
yeah, yeah,
And there's this point when he's singing "Wake Up," a song, right? Like a really epic song of Rage Against the Machine. The title speaks for itself, where he has a monologue that he can say something in like, I don't know, 30 seconds.
hmm
My experience of that was that he was very measured on what he could say during that monologue. Probably because of all the legal things that they have to maneuver when they do a concert. And then when the concert was over, we raged for like, I don't know, whatever, an hour and a half. And then the concert's over, you pack up and you go home, and the world is still the same.
yeah, I know what you're saying, Carlos, but I think those bands are also part of the herd, man. Like at the end of the day, they're just trying to make money and like become successful. And I guess they just used at the time it was cool to rebel. That's kind of like the track that they chose. But
Yeah,
yeah, I mean like it's hard, man, to like.
I,
What do you
I
want him to do? Like give up a profit to make a political point, or
No, I can't say what they can do, but I would disagree that they're not part of the herd. I think they're part of the specialized class. I think they're part of the specialized class that's meant to keep things the way they are. Like I would make a really blunt analogy. Like when you see cartoons or when you see shows that have like some type of like a king with his court and you have a jester or someone who's there for the entertainment of the king that the king approves of, that's how I see these big artists. They're like the jesters of the oligarchy that have been approved by the oligarchy to do their craft and their art to allow us to have these escape valves and have society run the way it's always been.
but do you think that, like, if that were the case though, wouldn't they be bigger than what they really are?
How so?
Well, an example, like someone like the Rolling Stones, for example. Why aren't they as big as the Rolling Stones? Why are they only as big as only to like a college few? You
What we
know,
talk?
or the Rage. Let's say, for example, the Rage Against the Machine, example. Or like, for example, I can see that with Radiohead because Radiohead's pretty big, you know. But I don't know about someone like Rage Against the Machine. And then, and then, but can I ask, do you feel like that because they have radio listening time,
No,
or
no.
why?
I
Like,
mean, I mean, look, if I saw Zach de la Rocha on the street, I'd be starstruck. And I'd have to resist the urge to going up to him and shaking his hand and being, hey man, I really respect what you do. Right? I'm just trying to see it from a perspective of like, what role do these bands have in our lives, in our society, right? I mean, the positive thing that I haven't said yet is that maybe their songs politicized a lot of people, right? Like they paid attention to the lyrics and they're like, hey, I never thought about that. And that just opens the door to this whole other way of looking at the world, right? That's really good and that's positive.
yeah, it kind of gave a voice to something that wasn't given a wasn't given a voice before, and it, like you said, someone mentioned it, and so they're like, oh, okay. So for example, right now, right, you're bringing up a point, and so we're kind of thinking about it like, huh, I never thought about it like that. I feel like someone like Rage Against the Machine did that. Someone like the Coup is probably doing that too. Like, huh, really?
yeah, and I would say yeah, man, it could go either way. Like I think the some of the more pop songs, like it's just like a kind of like how a couple episodes before we were talking about McDonald's is like an escape. Like, dude, just let me be. I don't want to think about my problems and the issues with the world. Let me just zone out and like listen to this music, eat my McDonald's. But then there's other ones I think that do have an influence in shaping or at least trying to change the world or have a message. Like I remember, I think it was in the 2000s. It was during college. There was another band called Rise Against, not Rage Against,
Mhm.
but Rise Against.
Yep.
And I forget what the name of it is, but like climate change was just we were just starting to talk about it, and I feel like they made it kind of popular because they put it into like one of their videos, and I thought that was really cool because at the time it was something that was really important to me, and these guys were like trying to make it more popular, and I think it to some effect like it kind of worked because now you know there's a lot more talk about climate change or whatnot and drawing more attention to the problem. So I think it could go both ways, to be honest.
Yeah, I think some of these artists do just make you think, make you stop and think, and do start shaping the way you start looking at different opinions and trying to take actions. Like I was listening to a System of a Down, the BYOB, and like right off the bat, why do they always send the poor? And it's talking about like
Yeah,
war. Like why are you
yeah.
always sending the poor? And it makes you question like why are like the fat cats and those the elite sending all the poor people to go out and fight in the front line? And so it just makes you stop and think as to why, and what are
Have
some
you?
things that maybe you can do to change that.
Yeah, yeah. Have you guys heard on Childish Gambino? This is America. I think Carlos would
No,
probably like it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. But can I get one more song and then?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the song I want is falls definitely within this theme. Shit, but you know what? You said something about music we're into now, right? That we listen to a lot now. So yeah, this one wouldn't fit there. A
Doesn't matter.
song,
Just
the song I listen to a lot now, or that I have listened to for the past like couple of years, it's called Cerca de Ti, and by Hermanos Gutierrez, and it's an instrumental song. And the reason why I listen to this band a lot is because they are instrumental, and because when I'm working, if there's lyrics, it's gonna distract me in some way. And this song, Cerca de Ti, it's got this like really minor chord feel, like longing, melancholy, that I really like. But circling back to what you were saying, Gian, and to what Edgar was mentioning, I think the very fact that we're having this conversation discussing the power of music and how it could influence us or make us think based on the lyrics of what a song produces is already very powerful and a big win for those artists. Even if I'm just calling them jesters of the court, which is pretty disrespectful, and I know they're much more than that. I mean, the fact that we're sitting here discussing lyrics of these artists, like if I put myself in their boots, I'd be like, yeah, like that's why I made my art, so you guys could think about it, so you guys can talk about it, so you guys could
mhm.
discuss it, and go and act appropriately as you see fit in the world.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see that point. What was I gonna ask? How how do you guys think your music taste has changed over the years, or has it changed? And if not, like how have you been able to maintain it? Like especially now with YouTube and with like so much technology out there, like and then like a new song is almost coming out like every week. I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
you can't even really enjoy like a song for a while. Like it's something new, something new, something new. How has your music taste changed? Or if it
I
hasn't, how have you maintained it?
yeah, I think that's important, Jose. My music choices reflect who I have met and who has influenced me throughout the years. And I think I take pride in the fact that it's like I listen to a diverse range of music from artists all over the world, and that kind of speaks to like what kind of person I am, the type of people I'm hanging out with that have influenced this music selection. But yeah, I mean, since I first started with like rock and then hip hop and Mexican music, cumbias, K-pop, like you name it, dude. Like I could listen to everything and anything. If somebody recommends it and it speaks to like the people I have met uh that have influenced me. So if anything, I like it, man. Like I like meeting new people, going to different countries and listening to the type of music that they play, or vice versa. Like you see the influence that the U.S. has like on other countries. It kind of trips you out. Um, but yeah, if anything, it has grown over the years and it has diversified.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's I agree with that here. All the portfolio has diversified over the years. It's also our ability to access all this music has become easier. So it's easier to go
Yeah.
out and choose, listen to Spanish music, K-pop. You can simply go on YouTube, I mean Spotify itself, and I'll definitely listen to some of these new songs because I haven't heard of Cerca de Ti and some of the other Spanish music. So I am definitely influenced by people I'm around and people I want to be, closer to and closer with, and also just with the kids and the wife. A lot of Disney music, I listen to a lot of that. So yeah,
Eh, yeah, and if I could add it, it's another way to retain our culture, right? Like if we were to go to like our baptism party or Necklace party or whatever, like what are they gonna be playing? Like banda, norteñas. So that music that our ancestors listened to has stayed with us. I don't know if this is like a thing unique to Mexican, but like yeah, like you could listen to that and also listen to like the modern pop and rock, but like it always stays there with you. Uh, and I think that's pretty cool. Music
absolutely.
is a way to like retain and pass down your culture.
Yeah, I relate to that point a lot. I listen to some songs that I just feel they're kind of baked into my blood somehow from my
Yeah.
grandfather and his family. And it's just like, why do I like this so much? And you do. We don't need to add these songs, but like songs by Cadetes de Linares, Hoser, which is a
Mm-hmm.
group that I know you
Yeah.
know. Um, Ramon Ayala, like those types of
Ramon
artists.
Ayala. I was just about to say that.
Well,
Yeah, they're really part of me.
Yeah.
But how do I get music now? I have the privilege of being able to pay, like, I don't know what the Spotify monthly fee is nowadays, like Spotify Premium, 15 or 17, I don't know, something around there. But it's just kind of how we live in this rent economy, right? In which the biggest firms want to charge us a monthly fee
I
for
think that's
everything we do,
I think
it
that's the
feels like.
craziest thing. Like, I must confess, we used to download music.
You guys remember
I
what was
think
that called,
LimeWire.
dude?
There was LimeWire.
LimeWire. Oh,
You have
I thought
BitTorrent, so
I think I was the
yeah.
Lost the
king.
Wire.
I think I beat you all with. I would download songs I didn't even like just because I could download them. But then one day, I decided to just pay. And like recently, I was thinking, I was like, how the heck did they get me? Did I just get tired of downloading? It never, like, I don't know what moment did I say, oh, I'll pay a monthly subscription. I mean, it's been great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I don't think I can let it go just because now they have audiobook and stuff like that. And it's kind of like they have me hooked. But it's just, when did that transition happen? Like, I didn't pay attention. I just didn't.
Okay, so I
Uh,
want to quickly jump in. So I didn't coin that term whiny white boy. It was whiny white boy music. It was a supervisor I had driving for the MTS. So he complained when Sublime came on and
Oh,
started singing Santeria. I don't practice center. He's like, what's this whiny white boy music? And he changed it. And I was paying attention to the guy because I liked Santeria, right? And then he changes it to some radio station playing Metallica.
okay.
And then there's a big silence for me because I'm like, isn't that whiny white boy music too? Weren't they the ones that started crying about Napster,
Yeah,
putting their songs so that we could download them?
yeah.
So that to me is like, kind of very representative of this vast genre of music that's very expansive that I'm a big fan of, that I like to call whiny white boy music, right? And it includes bands like Radiohead, like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like Metallica, like the Strokes, you name it, man. Like it's very expansive. And I think this genre of music is very noteworthy because of all the groups of people that you have on the planet. The ones that are least in a position to whine in the world are white men, in my humble opinion.
Hmm.
But having said that, I'm a big fan of whiny Latin American boy music too.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Just
Like one of the things I like, one of the genres I don't like is really rock en español. I always think it's like,
you don't like?
no. I'm like, when I hear Maná, like, na. I'm like, I think I can tolerate Maná because of Carlos, and Huellas San Blas, I can tolerate it because of Carlos. But when they go with like Tren al Sur, I'm like, or something like that. My wife hates it. It's like because she loves it, but to me it was kind of like enough, enough. Like I don't know. I just never did. But it's kind of like what Carlos says. Is that whiny Latin American music? But yeah, you give me something uh, like the Killers, like I'm Mr. Brightside, and I'm like, yeah, Mr. Brightside, or like somewhere I belong, yeah, where do I belong, you know, and
But wouldn't they
so
be, Jose, I guess, sorry to cut you off, but wouldn't it be equivalent to the Spanish
exactly,
rock?
exactly. But I think that's kind of what Carlos is saying. Like, yeah, I can complain about here, but somehow over here, I kind of like it. So, it's weird. It's just, but I think it also depends on like on the state where you at a certain time.
Hmm.
And I think during when I was really getting into that like Spanish music, I really emphasized to listen to norteños and banda just because my family was really into that. you know. So, um, unlike my wife grew up with all rock en español, and she just grew up with that. Actually, so another question I had for all of you is that where do you see the state of music right now? I mean, unless you've been living on a rock or just like, no, I don't want to listen. Where do you, how do you see music like changing now with the new artists coming out? Like, I'll give you an example. Like right now, I mean, what we call the narco corridos, that's always been present, but I think now it's been the new generations coming out. It's not even like, well, sometimes a narco corrido, I think when we were in college, like would catch your attention, like, oh, I like the rhythm, so oh
Hmm.
wow, this is what it said. But now it's kind of like just the most basic structure of a song, and with just like with no fear on what they're saying on that song. Like before, they kind of disguised it, like, oh, I'm talking about this capo, and now it's like I'm working for this guy, and the kid doesn't even know what's going on, you know. And so I think like now with new music coming out, is there's very disregard. Like they don't who they mention, why they mention it, and it's like a lot of the music structures have just gone very basic and foundational. But I don't know why. Maybe because it's easier. Do you guys feel the same way, or do you guys think I'm just going crazy?
I think it's probably harder now to make it big. Like there's so much competition, there's so many streaming platforms, there's so much ways to like get music now that I think it's harder for artists
Yeah.
to put it out there. So,
And
I
and
mean,
actually with that, I think I've been seeing that since COVID, music has just been coming out faster and faster and faster
yeah,
and
it comes
faster.
out
Every
faster.
week there's something new.
And then there's like the getting into like AI and technology, like, it could create beats and stuff. So some of it is like not even created by humans anymore. Now it's just like using technology. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. Like, getting away from instruments and getting more into like creating sounds and, stuff from like
I,
using technology more. But personally,
I,
I kind of like when bands make it big that still use like, instruments because it requires talent to do that.
Yeah, I want to circle back to that point you brought up, Hoser, about narco corridos and the basic structure of the songs and how their lyrics are very explicit to who they're working for. So I'm not an expert in this, right? But I've talked to people who are really into this, and they basically told me that the big cartels in Mexico use these groups as a way to grow their fame and their just presence in whatever space, and they basically sponsor them to
Make
sing
them
for
cool.
them, to sing for a cartel in particular, right? And so I think I just saw like a headline recently of some ex-singer for Banda El Recodo who admitted to having links to Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación in a Mexican
oh
newspaper,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this kind of gets me back to what I was saying earlier about these artists being like jesters of the king and the court. Except now we're talking about an illegitimate business, right? In quotes, which is the movement of narcotics across countries, etc. And so is that good or is that bad or is that just the way it is? Like, I don't know, man. Mexico in particular is a very violent country that is nowhere near having a sense of rule of law in many regions. Like we could talk about Culiacan particularly. It's almost like Mad Max, you know, like with the battles that go on between the state and these delinquents. It's almost like we're going back to the times of the revolution in Mexico. Like things are really deteriorating, in my opinion, with
Yeah.
regards to security.
Yeah.
And so I would like to think that these artists who know that they have a big platform are really weighing the impact that their words have on the youth and on kids. And in my opinion, I don't think they really take that responsibility.
No,
I
they
just
just do
think
it.
yeah, at the end of the day, they care about what Edgar said some moments ago. It's like, hey, what do you want these artists to do, man? They want to make a living. And if they have a capo who's sponsoring their career, And if they're gonna get a premio lo nuestro for it, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
what to do?
Well,
Yeah.
when you say that, it's just like younger kids who haven't don't have the foresight to see what
Yeah.
songs are actually doing, what they're actually saying, how they're going to influence the younger generations. Like I think of like Fuerza Regida, Peso Pluma, Tekashi 69, like all of them. They're talking about like forcing drugs and like fighting the law enforcement and actually being within gang warfare, gang violence. And I liken that to hip hop now, rap culture now, where it's the same thing. All it is just glorifying what you're doing, being within drugs, being within that culture. Uh, I mean, we can also politicize, you know, people at the congressmen, what they're doing, what they're not doing, that sort of thing. So music
Mm-hmm.
has a lot of impact and a lot of reach. I mean, it's not just endemic to one particular area, it goes globally. So, like what you're saying, Carlos, about South Korea, how they're pushing K-pop, and what you're saying with the Mexican cartels, they're pushing via or using like these bands as conduits to send drugs to influence all the younger people because it ultimately means they're gonna be want to be a part of this popular gang violence and this drug. So I don't know. I mean, don't really
I,
know
Hey,
where we're gonna
but
go.
bringing it back to like the Bewildered. I mean, we all have a choice though, and a voice, and our Spotify. Like this was playing the playlist that we want, right? But we can build our own playlist too. And if there's something that you don't agree with, that you don't support, then you hit it where it hurts. Like,
yeah.
you know, you don't support the music.
Yeah.
True.
I,
You have power in what you listen to.
I mean, that's the thing I would say, taking it back to the herd, that makes this the most, in quotes, free country on the face of the planet. But the freedom that we have here is the freedom to consume what our money will allow us to consume. That's where our democracy lies,
Mhm.
in my opinion. That's the real democracy we have of, lending credence or vote or selecting something based on your purchasing power. And so, yeah,
Yeah,
I think you're right. Spot on that.
yeah.
so then, would you say that one way we can go against being part of that herd is just being more mindful about like what are you supporting with the songs that you listen to, because each one of these songs actually it gives them some profit, right? I think.
Yeah, you can listen to like dig deeper into like who's this artist, like what is the lyrics actually saying?
Mm.
Is this something I want my kids to listen to? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
you can make those decisions, but
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
don't just be a mindless like herd. Like, oh, this is so fun. Like this is a cool song, but like
yeah.
do your research.
And then I'm assuming also listening to some. Actually, I don't even know if indie is still the word, but like some artists that are not as mainstream, I guess you can say. I think that's always been a good way to go against that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's harder now because AI on these apps will recommend you. It's like, for example, I'm trying to use this AI feature that Spotify has. I like it, but so right now I'm really into Christian music, because that kind of supports where I'm at right now.
You get to
But just
Switchfoot, Hoser?
huh? Yeah, a
Switchfoot?
little bit.
Oh, there you go.
But just because of one time I listened to Bad Bunny or Kendrick Lamar, and I was like, oh, cool. The DJ tells me, hey, welcome. Let's start your day off right. And it gives me a Bad Bunny song. I'm like, no. Like, get away from me. Get out. Like,
Yeah,
it's not that
I
I don't like
agree.
him. It's just that it's kind of like, just one time I listened to him. Oh, I like it. Yeah, that's a cool song. And then moved on. Like, it wants to already mold me into, like,
Hmm.
it's telling me, oh, I'm catering towards your likes. I'm like, cool, but but the other day I was thinking, like, are you really, or are you really like pushing me to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. See, that's the thing I was saying about like the use of technology now. It's like kind of pigeonholing you into this is who you should be. Like it thinks it knows you better than you than you know you. But yeah, like feel free to
Yeah,
explore. Don't rely on the AI.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta drop off too, guys. I think
all right,
everybody needs to
all right, y'all. Well, that was a great conversation. We could go super long,
part two.
but I think we're gonna need a part two. All right, y'all. Thank you all for joining us for this. We're gonna post this playlist up on our Spotify account, so go follow us there, and then we'll also have the same playlist on YouTube. So, all right, Jose, Edgar, G, and Carlos, thank you all for joining me. I kind of told myself thank you, but it's all right.
You gotta think yourself, man.
I gotta thank myself, right? All right, y'all. Thank you all for joining us in this conversation. Again, this is
All
part
right.
1. I think we're gonna have to do 2 or 3 because there were still so many questions, and we gotta build a playlist. So, all right, gentlemen, thank you all so much, and I'll
Peace
catch
out,
you
guys.
all
Good seeing you.
later.